All right, welcome back to the Texas NCAA 2014 tournament. We're going to do a little recap of the first round and talk about the second round of games here on the Ocho. First, we're going to do the North. So in the North, we were brought to you by the off season because it's still the off season, and our baseball team's not helping it out. So here's our basketball team. We're also brought to you by electricity. Literally, without it, we couldn't be here. So we're glad it's all back for most of us. All right, so in the North, we had mostly chalk, except we had one upset. So we had the 1, the 4, the 2, and the 6 move on. So guys, let's talk through these matchups, these games, and then we'll look what's happening in round 2.
Yeah, so first off, we had Michigan State versus Missouri. That score that game was a defensive battle. A lot of turnovers back and forth between those two users. Final score is 20-0, so a little bit of a blowout in the end, but I think the game was a lot closer than what the score indicated.
Cody, what you
think?
I think it wasn't surprising the outcome, but I think it was really surprising how much of a defensive battle it was. That Michigan State team's got a lot of firepower offensively. So it'll be interesting to see what happens against Wisconsin. But I think they're probably going to make it out of this one. But that was a great game.
Well, the next game we have 4 versus 5, Notre Dame versus Wisconsin. Wisconsin was victorious here, 10-7, in another really tight game. A little hokey pokey plays throughout this one that went in Wisconsin's favor. Wisconsin edged it out 10-7 in a Big Ten style defensive battle.
Yeah, that was a pretty predictable game. I would have expected Notre Dame to make it out of this one, but I think it was a good game. A little bit of an upset, even though there was the 4 seed coming out, but it's a 4-5 game, so that's pretty even teams. But I think it was a great game by Wisconsin. I know it was a little bit of a wonky ending there, but good game, and I expect them to do well against Michigan State.
All right, so I was expecting one of the Smith brothers, or both the Smith brothers, to move on to the second round, but it looks like I only had one. So thanks a lot, Aggie 369. Let's talk about that 2-7 matchup.
Yeah, so we had Ohio State versus Michigan in a big rivalry game, and it did not disappoint. It came down to the final minute, and Ohio State was able to pull it out 28-21 after getting 2 interceptions in the last minute of the game. So kind of some crazy back and forth there at the end, but the Buckeyes were able to pull it out.
Yeah, this was a lot closer game than I expected it to be. So I was a little surprised at how close the score was, but those 2 interceptions at the end definitely sealed it. So it's definitely a good game overall by Ohio State, and looking forward to seeing them in the next round.
Chris, how do you think it went from your perspective, since you are Ohio State?
Right. So it was a little tighter than I'd hoped. I was hoping to go in there and have a confident, confidence building type game. Definitely came out of it thankful that we got the dub, but Michigan, like I predicted, was a tough team. I didn't expect them to run the type of offense that they ran. Didn't use Devin Gardner quite as much in the run game that I was expecting. So it threw me off a little bit from a defensive perspective for sure.
Cool. And then the last matchup we had in the North bracket was Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State, which Bedlam didn't happen this week because Oklahoma kind of no-showed. And so Oklahoma State almost gets a bye to the second round. So we'll see the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
All right, so let's – oh, sorry, Cody.
No, I was just going to say it was a little disappointing to not be able to see this matchup. So I know they're going to be going in as kind of a wild card against Ohio State, but heard some good reports from some inter-squad scrimmages from the Oklahoma State team. So we're looking forward to see how that game goes.
All right, so let's look at the first matchup over here, the 1-4 game. We've got Michigan State and Coyote 95 versus the Badgers in Sweet Carolina 16. What do y'all think?
Yeah, so this is a classic Big Ten matchup. Both round 1 scores were really low, both under 20 points. Over-under numbers should be relatively low here. So if you're a betting person, maybe you take the over there just to maybe get an edge. But Yeah, I like Michigan State here. I think they have a lot of offensive power that they'll utilize. Wisconsin's got to have a hell of a defensive game and a hell of an offensive game to keep up for sure.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I do expect Michigan State to win here. I think given the outcomes of both of these teams' first round games, you would expect the defensive matchup we were talking about. But I think soon here we're going to see Michigan State kind of explode offensively, and this could be that game. So Wisconsin definitely have to bring their A game defensively, and then if they don't, they better hope they have the offensive firepower to keep up, because that Michigan State coach has definitely got some pretty high offensive firepower there.
All right, so let's look at the 2-6 game in the North. Obviously, we've got Bearcat Ag Chris and his Buckeyes against kind of an unknown and Cactus Jack and the Cowboys. But what are your thoughts on this?
So yeah, we got Chris and the Buckeyes, which we got to see in action, and their talent that they have at their disposal. Oklahoma State, I did play a scrimmage against him, and he's a pretty good player. So a little bit of unknown coming into what kind of offense he wants to run, what kind of defense he wants to run. He gets to be a little bit of a enigma, if you will, but it should be a good game.
Yeah, I expect this to be a super high scoring game. Battle of who's the true OSU is coming out. I know we have Oregon State, but they don't really count. But yeah, I think Ohio State probably comes out of this one, but I expect a lot of points. And I expect this to be a back and forth game the whole time, with maybe one or two big defensive plays at the end being the deciding outcome.
Awesome.
Chris, how do you feel about going into your second round game?
You know, having 2 games in a row with no game tape, it's a little nerve-wracking, I guess you'd say, but I think our guys are ready. I like their game plan in the first game: limit turnovers, control the clock, establish the run game early. And if we can do that and play some solid defense up the middle, I think we'll be good.
All right, well, that's the North. Just like last week, you got about a week. Obviously, there was some extenuating circumstances. So work with your opponent to schedule your game. If you can stream it on Twitch or Periscope, that'd be awesome. Had a lot of fun watching the games. I got to watch all but I think one of the games that was played, so I had a lot of fun doing that. Thanks for watching. We're going to have all 4 regions up here, so check it out. Give us your feedback, and we'll look forward to the games. Thanks, guys.